I don't know if it's come up or not. Welcome to the Out There channel, live stream 345. Hopefully it's running. CPU's peaking. Who's out there? 0 viewers, I reckon. Says we're live, anyway.
Okay.
Reckons we're live anyway. What else can go wrong today? Let's find out.
Yeah, let's find out.
2020, the great year.
Oh, it's not over yet.
I know. Must be going down to the base by now. Yep. Old CPU's peaking. Here we go. Hello. Who's out there? Nobody, according to the stats anyway. Good to be back. I think we're in a multi-universe for sure. I think everybody's beamed out. It's just me and Rob left in the world, I think.
Oh, wow.
Okay, you know the rules in the side chat. Yeah, we'll just catch everything up, what we're up to here. I'll just type in a welcome message. Welcome to the OT channel. Probably everybody's gone to sleep now out there, waiting. Live stream 345. So this is meant to be the magic number 345 for Bruce Maccabee Sunday interview with me and Rob, but he hasn't shown up. So something serious has happened, I think. Sunday UFO cases with Robert. So we go to what we normally do. I'm not sure if Charles is with us. I know he gets tired now with his new meds. It's a bit unfortunate, and looks like no one's on.
Yeah.
Still say 0 viewers. Less people type in the side chat, we won't know if they're there, because Twitch is a bit twitchy, as Susan said. Bit buggy. Alright,
Yeah,
Charles is still with us.
One has just shown his face. Charles and IV50. There you go.
You need to change your font color.
The stats are wrong.
No, I'll update you now, not for
And telling lies.
We were wondering if there was a major outage in America or something that we don't know about, like power cuts, ISPs down. It says one there, but it still hasn't updated on the main one. Oh, now it has. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, we're meant to have Bruce Maccabee on. It's a bit disappointing, yes. I've sent lots of messages on Facebook and sent one to Earl Grey saying, has he got SMS for him? If so, send him a message. So he was meant to be doing a show today. But yeah, we may have been sabotaged. As you know, ufology is a very broken community. And someone may have put him off, maybe. We just don't know. But yeah, we'll just go to our backup, which is with Robert doing UFO cases, and just carry on from where we left off last time. And if Bruce shows up, we'll just tap him on or postpone it for another Sunday. We have to decide at the time whether he's got the energy or not. So yeah, are you there, Robert? I'm talking to myself here now.
No, I'm still here, Paul. Yeah, I got the UFO incident on the USS Clanagore even. My apologies. Yeah, and we had full permission to play this. Do you remember? I sent you the message.
Yeah. Hang on. What message was that? Something on Facebook, was it? So
Yeah,
you want me to
I'm
get?
just saying it's Preston Denton's channel, but he gave me permissions to use it.
You want me to go and find that permission? Okay.
If you like, yeah.
Let me have a look. I might have to sort out the CPU a wee bit here. It's 98% for some reason. It doesn't make any sense. It's that nasty background process maybe doing it. Yes, okay, let me just get the download folder up and drag it across. There it comes. Got some extra CPU. Yeah, so it was meant to be Bruce today, but so we got a permission thing from Preston, you said. Sunday permissions. Yes. I'll just bring it up just to remind in case he's watching. But I don't think it said what he had permission for, though.
Well, come on, he's saying they're happy to help in any way I can.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to say anything about permission to use a video thing. But anyway,
Paul, it does.
We're dealing with Google here, and people that can put nastiness on us, right? So unless you got it in fine print, it makes it a bit more tricky for me as a creator.
Yes, but of course he's not going to claim against us, is he?
We'll see. You just don't know what's going to happen out there. So have you got a link to it? What do you want to put up?
Man. Yes, of course. Here we go.
Charles is saying that too. We've been dealing with Google for the last couple of weeks, haven't we, Charles?
But we use YouTube stuff all the time, and it should be fair use as long as you're stopping it here and there.
Yeah, but you got to remember, fair use is a call action. It's not actually written in law, so they can just tick it and say, yeah, it's definitely fair use because it fits into the category that's been defined. And it hasn't been stamped into law, and fair use is a take it to court and debate it and make other lawyers rich out of it sort of scenario, right? I've talked about it many times. Anyway, let's I don't know, it's just a nastiness with the copyrights as well as lots of other things out there.
The thing is, you can't use if you've got an interview with someone, text is absolutely garbage compared to the guy actually talking, isn't it? The witness actually talking. So you can read his body language, you can hear his tone, and all that stuff. So yeah, it makes our job extremely difficult, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can't ask permission always, because if you're going to do a critical view of the material, of course they're not going to give you permission. That's why it should be written in law. This is the whole problem of copyright.
I'd like to give Preston Denton's channel a call out there. He tends to look at the more obscure cases, far-out cases, the ones that aren't in the, popular UFO culture, so to speak. And he's good at what he does. So I'm going to give him a call out there, and thank you.
All right. Let's kick it off and see what the volume level's like.
Hello everyone, my name is Preston Denton, and today I'd like to talk to you about a UFO incident on the USS Clarke, a Navy submarine. This is actually a USO encounter with an unidentified submersible object. It's an incredible case in which this UFO, this USO, approached and paced a Navy submarine for several minutes. So that's what I'd like to talk about today. That and 4 other encounters involving USOs and mostly Navy personnel. But we'll start with the USS Clarke because it's, to me, I think, the most dramatic case of this bunch. But actually, they're all pretty amazing. This case with the USS Clarke occurred in 1971. The main witness, the guy I talked to, is Ray Sachs. Ray joined the Navy in 1969 at age 18. He became an electrician's mate and was at first stationed on the USS Dogfish, another Navy submarine. But the US Navy decided to sell the Dogfish to the Brazilian Navy, and Ray was transferred as an electrician's mate to the USS Clarke. And here's where things got really interesting. Turns out the USS Clarke carried 2 Mark 45 anti-submarine torpedoes in the aftertubes. Mark 45s are nuclear torpedoes. They're designed by the Navy to be used against high-speed, deep-diving enemy submarines, and each one weighs about 2,400 pounds and contains a nuclear warhead that can hit a target up to 8 miles distant. So the Clarke not only carried these, it had been recently modernized and now carried the most advanced ranging sonar available at that time. So it was aboard this submarine, the Clarke, that Ray and, well, frankly, all the people on the submarine had an incredible encounter. Again, this is 1971. The USS Clarke was heading north in the Atlantic Ocean, traveling on the surface. On this particular evening, Ray had been assigned watch duty with another petty officer. So Ray was up there with the other officer, the deck officer, and the commander of the submarine, Peter B. Boyne. And without warning, the submarine was approached from the stern, from behind, by a very fast-moving, glowing object beneath the surface of the water. And I'll just let Ray Sachs describe what happened in his own words. As he says, "This object closed from dead astern and slightly to our right. It closed in at an extremely high speed, in excess of 80 knots. And it closed until it got right next to us. Then it went from 80 knots to matching us at 12 knots. So 80 knots is faster than our own submarines can go, certainly. It was clear that this was an unidentified object, very advanced. It was totally silent and had just actually matched their speed perfectly, very quickly. So the deck officer turned to Ray, because Ray was in touch with the people in the sonar room. And the deck officer turns to Ray and asks him, "What is the contact?" And Ray just shook his head and said that the sonar guys were telling him that they couldn't see anything. And he joked, "Well, maybe it's Captain Nemo in the Nautilus." The deck officer did not think that was very funny. All 4 guys were just staring at this thing in complete shock. They had no idea what it could possibly be. It was totally silent. And at this point, all the guys in the sonar room, they wanted to see it. So they came up on deck and observed it. And the other petty officers also, or the junior officers rather, also wanted to see this object, so they came up and observed this thing, which continued to pace their submarine. And I'll just let Ray describe. As he says, it sat there for 15 minutes while our sonar crew, all of the officers and the captain included, were staring into the water at this 50-foot diameter light and trying to figure out what the heck it was. So the object paced this submarine for about 15 minutes. All the officers had to return to their stations. And at some point, this object just darts away, again at very high speed. As Ray says, the object just left, and it left just like you see a UFO in the air, going from a dead stop to high speed and just gone. About 2 miles out, it did a 45-degree right-hand turn, and it continued about 18 miles out until you couldn't see it anymore. And it was moving fast. It just boogied out of sight. So he estimates it was moving somewhere in excess of 50 knots this time, just a tiny bit slower, and moving at right angles, again, something our own submarines cannot do. They cannot move at that speed, and they can't turn at right angles and, quote, boogie out of sight. So it was very clear to all of them that this was a very unusual situation, a very unusual object. And the deck officer, he was getting angry because Ray and the other lookout were just jibber-jabbering about what they had just seen. They were talking about this object, how large it was, how bright it was, how it had paced the submarine and was totally silent, and what could it be? And the deck officer turns to both of them and says, "Do you guys mind shutting up?" So they shut up, as their superior ordered, and the deck officer now turns to Commander Peter Boyne. And according to Ray, the deck officer says, "How do I write this up in the log, sir?" And Commander Peter Boyne replies, "Officers who write up contacts like this do not get to advance in rank." So apparently this was never recorded at all in the official logbooks. At this point, the deck officer turns to Ray and the other lookout and says, "I don't want you guys spreading this around the crew." And after their lookout ended, Ray went below deck with the other officer, and both of them were immediately besieged by their fellow shipmates who all wanted to know what they had seen. It was the buzz of the entire ship. Everyone in the crew of the USS Clamagore, apparently, according to Ray, knew about this thing. And it was just a really incredible encounter that very nearly did not go recorded in any capacity. I'm really glad Ray...
So really it's just one eyewitness on this event, by the sounds of it?
No, there's multiple eyewitnesses, but how many have actually come forward? This is the question.
Right angle turns does sound something that underwater vehicles can't do. Even animals can't do that, I don't think.
Yeah, they've got quite a large turning circle, and 80 knots as well, and then suddenly reduce its speed to the same speed.
It'd be good to see radar or sonar map of this object doing that.
Yeah, of course.
So it's all, the government's got all access to all that information. What year was this again?
1971, I believe, Paul.
See, that's quite a long time ago now.
Yes, it is. That's 50 years ago, basically. Well, 49 years.
And we wouldn't have that sort of technology back then.
We don't think we've got that sort of technology now.
No, probably not. Unless it's decoys, like the object's still moving forward, but it goes like sonar invisible and sends off another object that goes 45 degrees to try and throw them off course. You know what I mean?
See, and you know, the fact that it was glowing into the water as well, it's not exactly stealth. It wasn't making any was trying to hide itself, was it? So I don't know.
How'd they see that though? That must have been on the surface at the time. And,
it must have been close to the surface, yes. You'd imagine so anyway, because you wouldn't have thought the light would penetrate far through water, would it? It's going to bend.
Yeah.
I don't know, but you know, it was similar to some reports that go back to the old medieval sailing days and stuff, you know. But of course, they thought it was a sea monster, and that's what they reported. They didn't report a UFO. We didn't know what a UFO was. And alien life was unthinkable then.
Yeah.
Oh, it's yeah. So I don't think these things are anything new.
No.
They decided to come forward and share what happened, because apparently this was covered up by the USS Navy. It's my theory that the USO was interested in the USS Clamagore because of the nuclear torpedoes it carried. And this is a pattern we see in other UFO cases where UFOs and USOs show an interest in anything nuclear, whether it's a nuclear power station or nuclear missiles or what have you. Interestingly, that was not the only weird incident that happened. There was another incident where all power on board the submarine completely failed. This should be impossible because there are numerous backup systems to prevent this from happening, and it was totally unexplained.
And you can't breathe.
Thankfully, it was only a very brief instance, but Ray thought it was important to mention because it might be related to all this. So that's an incredible case, and there are many others. I'd like to talk about another incident which happened in February of 1983 off the coast of Catalina Island, the outward-facing coast of Catalina Island. The main witness is Dr. Gary Wagner, who contacted me after hearing about my USO research and wanted to share his experience, which occurred on board the USS Long Beach, which is a nuclear-powered guided missile cruiser. And I'll just let Gary describe what happened in his own words. This is Gary talking. While in the U.S. Navy, we patrolled on the outward side of Catalina one evening after a thunderstorm. I was a lookout at the time and had direct communication to the ship's radar operators and the ship's bridge. I and approximately 15 to 20 of my shipmates witnessed a UFO approximately 3 miles away, outbound from Catalina. It was a light shaped like a half moon with a notch cut out of the bottom middle part. It changed in size from large to very small while maintaining the same relative shape. It also changed in visual intensity. It would blink rapidly, then remain lit, and then it would change size and blinking frequency. This occurred for about 15 minutes. I asked the radar operators what they saw on the scope. They had no surface contact on radar. When I asked the bridge what it was, the sailor at the other side of the headset said the bridge officers are too busy looking at the object themselves. So Gary was not able to obtain any other information from the people on the bridge or his other officers as to what this thing was. But he definitely believes it was unusual. It was not the first time he had seen a UFO while in the Navy. Once while he was in patrol in the Indian Ocean, he and about 6 other sailors watched 2 very fast-moving lights streak across the sky from one end to the other. And he was in touch with the radar operator at the time and asked him what the air contact was. The radar officer didn't respond. Instead, another officer came on the line and said, "You did not see anything." And Gary, of course, didn't talk about it after that. But he, like other witnesses, feel that this sort of information is important enough that it should be revealed. And I totally agree. I mean, these are amazing cases. Yeah. Another.
This was off Catalina Island. Geez, you could do a whole show of incidents off Catalina Island. The Nimitz as well was in that area.
Yep.
I wonder what's going on there, but there was a testing area there as well, you know.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
Didn't they dump a lot of stuff off ships there too, from World War II?
Oh, I don't know about that.
I think there's a bit of junk on the sea floor there, because Joss Gates did an episode, UFOs around Catalina Island, and they got out deep sonar scans.
Yeah.
And tried to find wreckage for a lost treasure ship, I think it was, and they found all sorts of stuff under there.
Okay.
Can't remember exactly now. I think there was a helicopter dumped into sea, and maybe there were some crashes, you know, where they were doing some tests and it went wrong and bailed off. I can't remember what the episode was now, but yeah, something strange happened, if I remember right, on the episode. They lost power as well underwater.
Oh.
Yeah, I kind of think there was something strange that happened. Anyone else there watched the episode? I think it was on Expedition Unknown. Do you remember that one where you was diving looking for a shipwreck? And they had some strange stuff happen with electronics. Anyway, yeah, so maybe there's some sort of like Bermuda Triangle magnetic anomaly happening there.
My mate's dad, he used to go out there, you know, Catalina Island. I think he used to go 2 holidays in here. So he spent like a total of, you know, 6 weeks, 2 months in here out there. And they had the UFO sighting as well. Yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah. Although I think a lot of it's still classified. And you won't get many people come forward and tell you the stories, right? So, but we've heard lots of stories since the Nimitz stuff, 2004, of hundreds of objects just simply going to the sea off those islands there. I think there's another island further down too, isn't there? Can't remember what it's called now. Maybe we should bring up a map so we can see where this island is. Catalina. That's how you spell it. California. Okay,
yeah, it's off California, yeah.
North California, I think it is. Here it is. And if we start zooming out on the regular map, here's the other island here, isn't it? You see there's little stuff out here. What's that little strip there? And I think there's another one further along somewhere, isn't there? I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Looks like there's several couple big islands there.
Yeah. I wonder if they're occupied. Yeah, they must be. Yeah, big enough to be occupied, aren't they?
Oh, well, let's bring up a satellite map and have a look, I suppose. But look at the sea bottom there, all from the solar sonar scans.
Yeah, there's a trench out there as well, isn't there?
You got the
a lot of people
said
there's a UFO base underneath the sea there, you know.
You can see a big drop off here on that island there, right? You can see it's quite interesting. Just have a look at the terrain under the water here. Of course, we can't get access to it without Cameron. What's his name? The famous movie director that's got deep sea subs made specially go that far. But yeah, there's quite a few islands further up too. Channel Islands, Santa Rosa Island. You can see they're sort of higher up here too. Okay, let's have Have a look at these things, but you can see here that's got to be where the fault line is.
Yes. Yeah, don't forget the fault line.
There's actually two opposing fault lines. Here we go, it's got a runway at the very end. Naval, see? There you go. So, yeah, you can expect maybe there might be a submarine base there, right? Being naval, that we don't know about.
It's an auxiliary base, but still.
And you can see here, it's funny how the water edge around here is so different for some reason, because they haven't actually scanned the water itself. So you got strips. See how they've done the strip here of satellite images, but they still just got the sonar scans of the sea floor.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is definitely military presence on this island here. I don't know if there's any regular fishermen. Might be something in the middle here. What's that?
Yeah, and I don't know where that secret testing was going on.
Looks like a military island to me. Look at this. Got cranes to building something. Looks like it's going underground actually. What do you reckon?
I think Steve Justice, TTSA, during the series Unidentified, he talked about the secret military testing that was going on there, didn't he?
Yeah, look at the road. So just go to an end point, and it looks like another military of cranes. I've got a crane going on here. So what's going on that island? I don't know. But
I don't know, but it looks sparsely populated, doesn't it?
Yep. It's got a. Well, it's important enough to build a road. I don't know if it's concrete. Looks like concrete, doesn't it? It's
Looks
definitely
like
built by military for sure. Look at this thing. Big dome radar dish.
Can't see anything in the way of housing, can you?
No, it's all military blocks, but one end of the island to the other. Oh.
Excuse me.
And of course we've got Catalina Island here. Not too sure what's on there. I think there might be a village on this one.
There's.
Here we go. Might be something there. There we go. That definitely looks like regular people.
Yep.
High school. It's got everything there.
Well, it's a busy little town in the summer.
Definitely. Look, all the boats offshore here, and it's got even a what do you
fishing
call it?
Industry.
It's got a little.
It's a big quarter.
I'm not sure what this is here. These lines. What's that? Not sure what the lines are about.
Could be shipping lanes, you know.
It have to be, I suppose, but yeah, no explanation what it is on the map.
No.
So what else we got on here? There must be airports. I didn't see it there, but maybe there was.
Yeah, I'm sure you can fly directly in, you know.
We got a Catholic church. Well, that's got to be important. Airport, you'd think would be here somewhere. Can't see anything. Maybe they don't have an airport. You'd think they'd have a small helipad or something there. You can see how mountainous it is here. And there's nothing on this other side, which is where the action normally happens, isn't it, for the UFOs? Normally happens on this side. Look how rocky it is. Yeah, look, you can see why they wouldn't build houses here.
And is it a volcanic island?
Yeah, it looks pretty steep there, you see. Could be something on the very coast here. Although we can't see, it's a little blurry. And that looks pretty bare there.
Yeah.
Can't see any buildings whatsoever. What's that there? A very strange high rock of some sort, by the looks of it. Hey, it's casting a shadow. Here we go. Now we got something going on here. Cat Harbour. Although I'm not seeing anything built up here. Here's a road now. Still looks very barren. Oh, here we go, got some more roads going to the edge. And some boats. Just zoom out. So it looks like an entrance into the island, is it? Oh, here we go. So, yeah, looks like some big houses here.
Yeah. Anyway, do you want to get back to the case now?
Yeah. Didn't see any airport there or military on that particular island. But you'd think there'd be something there. No, we've got a good idea where all the islands are anyway.
Yeah.
The case I'd like to talk about is actually a classic case. This occurred in 1956, long before I had arrived on this planet, so I wasn't able to interview the witnesses firsthand. But it's such an incredible case that I thought I would talk about it here, because it's not super well known, and it deserves to be. This incident occurred on February 9th, 1956, off the coast of Redondo Beach. It started around 1:30 a.m. when residents of the area, as well as police officers from both Hermosa Beach and Redondo Beach, as well as lifeguards, saw this object come swooping down out of the sky. It was described as being about 10 to 20 feet in size, bright and fiery, glowing orange, and it came down in a kind of gliding or swooping pattern and landed on the surface of the ocean about 100 to 300 feet off the coast of Redondo Beach. While this was much earlier than today, the area was by no means isolated, and numerous people saw this. Soon there was a crowd of people watching it, including police officers Marvin Poor and John Freeland and Jack Hopkins. One of the residents who saw it was Martin Dumbrell, and some of the lifeguards who saw it was Lieutenant Frank Rodeker and Ted Davis. So there's a whole group of people watching this thing, and it's just hovering there for about 20 minutes or so on the surface. It's very bright. At some point, it sinks below the surface of the water, and they can still see its brightness, but now the water is becoming all frothy and foamy. And so at this point, one of the officers, Jack Hopkins, calls the Redondo Beach police station and requests a Geiger counter. Shortly later, the Geiger counter arrives, and Lieutenant Frank Rodeker and another lifeguard row out to this thing and actually go right over it. And as Frank Rodeker says, it was a big thing. It was maybe 15 feet across, and it was still glowing down there under the water almost until we got there. Unfortunately, or as if in response, this object winked out right when the lifeguards approached, so they weren't able to get a real good look at it close up. And they took out the Geiger counter and did not get any readings from it. They decided after searching around a little bit, they rowed back to shore, at which point one of the witnesses, Martin Dumbrell, joked with them and said, maybe the Martians saw you and turned out the lights. Which, yeah, may be a joke, but could be not far from the truth. One of the lifeguards, Ted Davis, he joked and said, or maybe they already waded ashore. So a very interesting case, and it generated a lot of attention. The next morning, there were still witnesses there. There were reporters. People wanted to know what happened. And this object made no reappearance. However, the Navy decided that they would send out a couple of divers to investigate the area. And that's exactly what they did. After the sun rose, 2 lifeguards donned their scuba diving gear. One of them was Lieutenant Don Hill. Another was a really well-known diver by the name of Bob Maestral, a diving expert. And together the 2 of them went out there to see if they could find anything. And surprisingly, they came back with something. About 40 minutes later, after diving, they returned claiming that they had found the culprit. The UFO, they said, was not a UFO at all. It was, in fact, a U.S. Signal Corps sea search flashlight with a special water battery. This flashlight actually has a sensor which turns on the flashlight automatically after 3 minutes of being exposed to water, and it burns for about 1 hour.
Bullshit.
So this was the explanation released to the press to explain this incident, or in my opinion, to debunk it. And other UFO researchers, of course, have looked into this incident, and they don't buy this explanation offered by officials for 1 second. One researcher who looked into this is Isabel Epperson, and as she writes, as usual, there are discrepancies, and the reader is left with unanswered questions. The police officers reported that the object was aglow before it hit the water.
Okay. I just heard from El Grey, and I see that Bruce is online. He's lit up now.
Okay.
So he's just come on, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So I'm not too sure. It's a bit late though, isn't it? But we'll just carry on. We can always add on after this.
Yeah, it's too late now.
After this show.
There was also no explanation as to what kept the solid object afloat for 20 minutes or longer, and then automatically caused it to sink. If something kept it afloat, why did it finally sink? Another researcher who looked into this was Leonard Stringfield, a very prominent researcher and well-respected, I think. And he totally agreed with Isabel Epperson and added, and I quote, "Nobody heard or saw the aircraft which may have dropped the searchlight. And according to the picture of the searchlight supposedly found, the half-inch bulb certainly would not appear as a ball of fire as reported by several observers." So the explanation offered is in complete contradiction to the known facts that this was a very large, fiery, glowing, disc-shaped object which glided down out of the sky and floated on the surface of the water for 20 minutes and was described as being anywhere from 15 to 20 feet across. So clearly not a flashlight. And it's unfortunate.
Reminds me a little bit of
this was the explanation offered.
Yeah.
Whatever the case.
Don't talk over it if you want to. Yep.
Oh, sorry, Paul. Yeah. It reminds me a little bit of the Shag Harbour incident.
Shag Harbour.
Yeah, in Canada.
I guess they were saying there's an underground. There was a submarine spotted, wasn't it, around the area in the bay at the time? But yeah, I don't know if that ended up being true or not. Wasn't it meant to be like some submarine from Russia or something like that?
No, I've never heard that explanation for it.
Yeah.
However, there was some dodgy witnesses that came from a place called Government Point, which is like a military post. So some of the witnesses that came forward there, they were well speculated to be a bit dodgy anyway. So I don't know about Shanghai, I really don't. But something landed on the water. There was no question about that.
Well, I can't remember. There were some eyewitnesses saying they saw a submarine surface at the time.
No, I don't think so. The main witnesses were the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Mounties.
Are you sure? I'm pretty sure there was.
Yeah. But I wouldn't go moving from case to case until we finish this one, Paul.
Yeah, Shag Harbour submarine. I'm pretty sure there was witnesses. There you go. Nova Scotia.
Yeah, that's the incident, Paul. But
maybe there's something about a submarine. Anyway.
No, I don't ever recall a submarine being used as an excuse for what happened there, or even as a debunking exercise. I've never heard of a sub. And besides, it was glowing on the water. That doesn't make sense for a sub, does it?
Yeah, I don't know. I assume they got some big spotlights on submarines to light up what they're looking for, but
yeah, the thing is, before it actually came down onto the water, there was a couple of pilots that seen it in the air, you know, Paul. So 2 commercial aircraft, in fact. And people did actually see it land on the water. I don't think a sub flies. Yes, it's an interesting incident. I don't think we've ever actually done a deep dive on that case. And there was that yellow foam that was found on the surface. I don't know about that either. That was certainly strange.
And there was report of fire balloons, which we call Chinese lanterns.
Oh, Chinese lanterns.
They reckon that maybe what they saw was a big Chinese lantern that crashed into the water, and the oil is what caused the frothiness of the sea, salt water.
Oh, I don't think but there was hundreds of meters of it, Paul. That would have had to be one big Chinese lantern.
Well, maybe it was, because apparently a week before there was seen Chinese lanterns in the sky, which was illegal because they start fires. And of course, no one's going to own up to it, saying, "Oh yeah, it was one of our experimental Chinese lanterns," are they? Because it caused a lot of call out to military, police, and all that, and caused a lot of expense to, I suppose, taxpayers and the government or whatever. So yeah, you're not going to come forward and say, "Yeah, sorry guys, it was us mucking around at a party." Oh yeah, so ends up being the UFO story of the century. But yeah, I think there was maybe multiple events going. Like I always say, everyone always assumes it's one event, and who knows? It may have been like a cover story with the Chinese lanterns or whatever, you know. Maybe there was a submarine out to sea there that was Russian that was spying on what was happening. And they chased it off. Who knows? May have been some military stuff happening.
Leonard Stringfield did find out that the Navy knew this was not a searchlight or a flashlight of any kind. He found official documentation in 1957 which stated only, quote, "Fireball hits water, submerges." So obviously not a flashlight. But one of many other cases. I'd like to talk about just a couple more.
Like
one guy I interviewed.
Fireball hit the water. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what year was that one again? 83, did he say?
I don't know. I think so. 80s anyway.
Told me a very impressive.
Yeah. I suppose we'll just
the
go.
Harbour incident was. Hold on, what date was that now? Was that late 70s?
I don't know. 67, says here, is it? Event 67.
Oh, yes, it was. It was late 60s, Paul. It was 1967, October the 4th.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure I heard the submarine story.
He believed that case was genuine, but yeah, I don't know. I can't remember the guy who done most of the work on it. Now he was a Canadian guy, but even the Canadian official files classified it as a UFO, which was one of the few times that they've ever said that. They normally try some kind of cover story first, but yeah, we'll go.
Story. His name is Paul. He's also an ex-Navy guy. He and another ex-Navy guy decided that they were going to convoy a boat up the California coast. This was in the mid-1990s, and they are both ex-Navy submariners, not only in the Navy, but guiding submarines, navigating submarines, and piloting the submarines. So they're very familiar with ocean-going craft, to say the least, and are trained observers. And they're heading north up in this just a small yacht, not a very large boat. They started out at Dana Point and got all the way up to San Simeon. This is late at night. It's a dark, stormy night when suddenly off the coast, just a short distance off the coast, maybe a few hundred yards, they saw a very bright object, what appeared to be a boat of some kind, except no boat that they had ever seen before. First of all, this object was in an area where it shouldn't or couldn't be, because it was very rocky and boats were not allowed to go there. You would be destroyed. So they couldn't figure that part out. And also, it just did not look like a normal boat at all. It had none of the normal navigation lights at all. It was very large, like the size of a tanker, according to their radar, and extremely bright. And they're looking at this thing, trying to figure out what the heck it is.
Hey, I just heard a comment from Bruce. Had water leak in crawl space under the house, had to work on it to slow leak.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, okay. We did wait for 1 hour, 15 minutes. You are still welcome to come on.
Well, do you know what, Paul? It'd be better to rearrange it, because we're not going to get much time out of him tonight now.
Well, you've got to remember it's only like dinner time over there. You can come on, but maybe we'll push it to following Sunday. We are talking USOs of California. If you have own stories to add.
No, Paul, no. Nah, do a separate interview with him,
Oh, he can come on and talk about USOs if he wants to do something.
Oh, come on, no, we need to get the best out of him.
He said okay to push it to the following Sunday. Anyway,
that's better, Paul. That's much better.
But we don't want to push. We want him to sort of come on as a regular user, though. So I'm not going to.
Come on, he's not doing that. He hardly does any interviews of anybody these days. You're not going to get him coming on every week.
You said that that we weren't going to get them on at all, but you seem to be wrong there too. But anyway,
well, I didn't think we would, but we haven't had him on yet, have we?
Yeah, but at least he's told us what...
He's not going to be a regular part of the show, Paul.
Well, all's hopeful. Anyway.
Is when suddenly their depth
be
sounder,
more positive, people. Be more positive.
Gauges their the depth of the ocean beneath them. Suddenly read out a depth of 15 feet. They knew this couldn't be true because they knew their position, and yet they couldn't take any chances. They took emergency action and immediately turned their boat left out towards sea to increase their depth. So they wouldn't run against any rocks. And once their depth sounder read a normal depth, they turned their attention back to this object and were shocked because it was no longer in the same position. It had moved about 1 to 2 miles, they estimate, and was now much deeper out into sea and was in fact directly in front of their boat and heading towards them. They stopped moving and just let this thing, whatever it was, approach them, which it did. It approached them in a distance of less than a mile, which at sea is very close. He estimates it was about 3/4 of a mile, and it approached on the port, on the left side, and it was too bright for him to make out any kind of hull structure at all until it got to about broadside of them, until it drew up right alongside them, and then they could just make out that this thing was at least 600 feet long, and it had what appeared to be about 30 or 40 extremely bright stadium lights scattered all over it. It was very strange. It stopped there at this point, and that really freaked them out. And they, at some point, became so frightened they moved on. So they don't know what it was and still don't know what it was to this day. All I know is this wasn't ours and it wasn't anything normal. And there's a lot of cases of these USOs. Let me just tell you about one more from another really amazing witness. This occurred in 2004. I call the witness Rick Baker. That's not his real name. And this occurred off the coast of Haiti, or the Dominican Republic area, that area. And it's a very interesting incident. There were 3 witnesses. They were on a former Navy boat, a 65-foot decommissioned Navy boat. Rick, the main witness that I interviewed, is a certified scuba diver, nitrox certified in not only basic diving, but advanced open water. And he's also a licensed Coast Guard captain. So a great witness. And they had a very terrifying encounter. They had just survived a life-threatening storm. They literally thought they might sink, but thankfully they survived it. And we're heading in for a port to find shelter as this storm blew itself out. And this is when this very weird incident occurred. Suddenly, beneath their boat, they saw a very large, glowing, turquoise blue object. It was donut-shaped. He estimates it was about 20 to 50 feet in size. It was hard to tell because I couldn't see how deep it was. And it winked out, and suddenly there was another one. It turned on, and it was closer, and then it winked out. And then there was another one. And these were all identical looking, all giant kind of blue-green donuts, very artificial looking. They appeared to have a very dark center. All they could see was this glowing ring of light around the perimeter. They could have been actual donuts or solid objects. He couldn't tell for sure because this was at night.
Pause at that, Paul?
And they became very alarmed because these objects started swarming their boat. And it wasn't just 1 or 2. There were dozens of these.
It's almost at the end.
Yeah. So, we've got Mush joining us, by the way. Hello, Mush. Yes. So what does that remind you of? Those donut shaped craft. Remember an incident we covered, Malvi Island.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But we weren't too sure about that case.
That case has long been considered to be a hoax. But
we're not too sure. It could be covered up. Could have been covered up.
There's certainly some unusual things going on, but it is largely considered to be a hoax. Yeah, that's the general consensus anyway.
Yeah,
that dodgy Harold Chrisman involved, didn't you? Yeah, there was some proper weird stuff going on there. And who's the other main witness? Dahl, wasn't it? Yeah, Dahl.
Yes. Donut-shaped UFOs. There must be a few other ones, cases out there.
There has been a few, but they're far and few between. Put it that way.
Wasn't there one in Australia?
Could well have been.
I know the only ones I can really remember was the fake dragonfly ones, which were like donut shapes, almost like Tesla coil things, and with a long flat sort of structure pointing out the side of it, which I assume.
The lid, the molten half something to do with that.
Yeah. Which turned out.
Touches.
Yeah, all the experts agreed that there was a model faked. But yeah, it kind of looked like a cool ship that kind of looked like it was like a lifter, you know, which had the hole in the middle of the wires coming out from the top where you'd expect high voltage to be able to create some electromagnetic lift of some sort. But yeah, it's just elaborate hoax, wasn't it? So all the experts say. You disappeared off the side. Oh, no, you're back again. Yeah, so, yeah. Unfortunately, he has got the witnesses actually telling the story on camera, which is a bit unfortunate for this episode.
Yes, of course, that would have added an enormous amount, wouldn't it?
Be good if we could actually hunt down some of these guys and actually get them on our Jitsi chats directly, wouldn't it?
The thing is, a lot of these older cases that we're covering, a lot of these witnesses have passed away now, unfortunately, or you know, they're old and maybe don't really want to be in the public eye and any part of the UFO community. And I can tell you what, I could fully understand that. After what we've seen in the years we've been in it. Good God, man. You wonder sometimes how you got that you ended up getting this far, you know? And yeah, the disjointedness and the fractured nature of ufology, it's hardly any surprise that many people don't want any part of it. I can fully understand why.
Well, it's the people on YouTube channels that have sort of ruined it all. People like Martin and what we do here are trying to bring it back to normalness.
Yeah. But I have to say this, Paul, long before the days of YouTube, the UFO community was fractured, you know. There was always bad feeling. There was always competition.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just the way it is. And at the end of the day, we're all in this together. But
some are not actually in for the truth, though.
No, not at all. That is the problem with a lot of YouTube channels. They're just in it to make money. They're not in it to do anything close to real research or analysis.
Yep, or bring people together that actually had real experiences. But now we got like it seems to be almost like they're feeding the pranksters, right? Oh, we'll put up videos,
Yeah.
just send it to us. It's this opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Opportunity to prank them and just have a giggle factor. We conned these experts, but they're not experts.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. Did you talking of you mentioned Martin Willis there? Did you hear David Clarke on his show the other night?
I've got so much to catch up on, mate. I've got it queued.
Yes,
I know. It's
okay. I do that stuff, Paul, so you don't have to keep up with all of it, you know. But it was quite interesting what he said about Nick Pope, and it's exactly what I've been saying about Nick Pope for years.
So there you go, infighting.
Yeah, exactly. But David Clarke's a debunker, you see, and I don't generally like debunkers, but Martin Willis asked him at the end of the show, what's your best case?
Yeah.
And he came up with a case and he said, it's only a single witness case, but I truly believe this gentleman. You know, and anyway, so I went looking for the case and I found it on his website, on David Clarke's website, and maybe we can have a look at that next. It was a guy called Hubbard, Stan Hubbard, that's his name, yeah. So maybe we can have a look at that witness testimony or his interview with Hubbard.
But you haven't got it set up though.
What do you mean?
You haven't got it set up for today's show though. The link's handy for it.
No, I haven't. No, because I didn't think we were doing it today's show.
No.
I thought we were, but not with me. I thought we were.
Yeah, but evil karma come our way with Bruce there, so you know, things happen. We lost Charles last Sunday, and now we've got him back. So hopefully, Bruce will be this. Bruce will be the same. So
yeah, well, hopefully we'll get Bruce on for next Sunday. Carl's not the end of the world, man. These things happen.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It almost seems like the end of the world for America at the moment. But anyway, in New Zealand, it's nice paradise and nice sunny day today. It's lovely here. I'll probably take the dog out after the show. But anyway, we'll just finish off this. And you can find those links to the other bit, maybe.
These things blinking on and off beneath their boat. Some very close, he estimates within 10 feet of their boat, and some much deeper and maybe about 100 feet. The deeper ones looked smaller and were dimmer, and the close ones, of course, were very bright and very large. Again, he estimates 20 feet, maybe even 50 feet. All three of the men had no idea what these things could be. All of them were very alarmed. None of them had any prior experience with UFOs or USOs, so they really did not know what they were looking at. They were pretty confident this was not any kind of Navy experiment because it was a very isolated area and there's no evidence of Navy activities in this area. So they pretty much discounted that, not only because of that, but because of the way these objects were behaving, swarming around their boat. And these objects followed and swarmed around their boat for a few moments, long enough to, scare them pretty badly, and finally moved off or just disappeared. And these guys decided they were still going to head directly into the closest port that they could find, which they did. They took anchor in about 40 feet of water and were shocked to see one of these donut-shaped objects suddenly zoom up towards their boat, again from underneath, but very bright, went under their boat and disappeared. So, very strange. Rick contacted me because he wanted to know if I had ever heard or seen anything like this. And I had to tell him, no, I don't have any case quite like this, but I have many similar cases in which USOs do target boaters. And it certainly seemed to target his boat in this case. He wondered if it might be some sort of marine life, and I looked. I couldn't find any type of marine life that at all matched his description of what these guys saw.
I think there might be, actually.
So these are just a few of the many USO accounts I've researched. I wrote about these cases and others in my book, Undersea UFO Base. That book focuses mostly on USO activity off the Southern California coast. And I tried to put forth in sort of a case for a possible existence of an undersea UFO base in this area. But the book does cover other cases around the world because it does appear that our oceans are swimming with USOs, and there's all kinds of activity going on beneath the water, beneath the surface of the waves that we don't see, and certainly the Navy isn't talking, at least not in an official capacity. So I'm really grateful to these whistleblowers who have come forth and spoken with me and other investigators and shared what they know about these objects that are swarming around in our oceans. And they felt it was important to talk about and let people know, and so do I. And that's why I put together this video. So once again, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks very much for listening, and keep having fun.
Maybe you hit on something there. You know, there's deep undersea creatures that do emit.
He's definitely hitting on something there.
No, about whether it could be sea life, because that makes sense from them attacking a boat, right? You've heard about old sailors talking about being attacked by the kraken, which is like a large squid.
Yeah.
Now we know there are large squid that are deep under the sea there, and sometimes they do come up. So yeah, could it be?
But not traveling.
Yeah, but we've come across these large jellyfish that simply glow, called cone jellyfish, and I'm pretty sure they do have a hole in the middle. They are donut shaped, and there's a new species they come across, which was that black one that I did an episode on. Let's see, I might be able to find the thumbnail for it. It was only small, but doesn't mean there ain't big versions of it. And it kind of almost looked like it was artificial life. And I'll just get down, see if I can find the picture of it to show, remind you what it looked like. It actually looked like a piece of plastic. And it just totally transformed into this attacking creature with flashing lights. But it's actually a real jellyfish, but they've only ever seen these being like clear or white, never black, which is kind of unusual. It's probably miles down the page here. Going back a wee while now. It's amazing how much we do, isn't it?
Geez, yeah, we've covered some cases now.
Yeah. And of course, a lot of the forwards are pushing Dr. Greer stuff again, and Corey Good, which is shame on them, as far as I'm concerned.
I know. Third Face of the Moon, wasn't it?
And also some other people. Down here, I think it was. Come on, Google. I actually got a copyright claim on it too when I did it, and I said it's fair use, and they actually gave it to me. I was surprised. I thought I was going to have to take it down or edit it out.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm a wee bit reluctant to play the video again. But yeah, it should be down here, but I just can't see it.
Yeah. Oh, okay, listen, while you're looking for it, you know, I told you about there was going to be some breaking news.
Yeah.
And we weren't sure what it is. Well, it still hasn't landed, but we know a little bit about more of what it's going to be now. It's going to be in the form of the Tim McMillan interview.
Yeah, I thought it might be easy to do with him.
Yeah, so I'd imagine it's going to be in the War Zone or Popular Mechanics, isn't it?
Yep.
when it does land. But I'll tell you what, I'll give you an idea of what it's going to be about. It's going to be about a so-called secret UFO program that's now come to light, and it's going to be exposed. So it's going to be pretty big news when it does drop.
Is it just going to be story? So is this going to be story? Are we going to get video or pictures or what?
Well, no, it's a UFO program, Paul. So you're not going to have photographs of a UFO program. That's what I'm saying. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be along those lines, and it is quite big. The trouble is, it's been hyped out of all proportion by some members of the UFO community. Unfortunately, I don't know what they get to doing, because you know, then everyone's looking forward to this massive bombshell, aliens real and all this stuff, and it doesn't happen. But that's what it seems to be about. It's about a secret UFO program that's been running for some years now. And Tim McMillan, he's in contact with some people in the intelligence community, and they're the people that's brought it to him. So I'm looking forward to it, because I don't know exactly what it's going to contain myself. Nobody does.
I see UFO Jesus was in the side there saying something big is coming.
Yes.
It's going to shake up ufology.
Yeah, well,
but another secret program, another secret program's not going to shake us up, is it?
Good God, we already know they've been studying UFOs.
Yeah, that's right.
For decades, even though they've denied it. They said after Blue Book we never touched it again.
Found it.
In fact, most of the Blue Book cases were going to, well, not the Blue Book cases, but the best cases weren't going to Blue Book. They were going elsewhere.
So this funny creature, strange USOs.
Yeah, Paul, to be honest, like, I don't think any sea creature is responsible for some of these sightings, you know.
I know you don't, but the critical thinkers out there, me and Charles, might say otherwise.
Oh,
God,
I've got critical thinking, Paul, and I don't think it's some kind of glowing squid, okay? That's my critical thinking. I mean, what did that guy on the Calamar, whatever that ship was called, USS something, he said it was 50 meters across. That's 150 feet, Paul. Thereabouts. That's one big glowing sea creature. That. No, I'm sorry. I'm using my critical thinking and saying that is bollocks.
This is something's happening with Google, right? They're sort of sabotaging us. I think they're taking away bandwidth or something from us. See, they shouldn't do that, should it?
No, it's got no intention of playing, has it?
It's unbelievable, isn't it? It's just crazy.
Well, I'm going to get another drink while you sort this out.
I think the government needs to type in delete google.star and hit enter. Really, it's just a bad organisation now, isn't it? It's like I don't know. They might just go and move to China, as far as I'm concerned. What do you reckon? The Chinese owned. Yeah, let's try reload. I suppose it's going to play now, and he's gone. Here it goes. We got a picture of it at least up. No, unbelievable, isn't it? Seems 2020 is behind us, the better, I think. I think the men in black have got us well and truly this year. How'd you stop it doing that? audio thing. See, even when I was doing that show, I was having trouble. I've actually got some stills from the footage. That's so funny. Strange evidence. And it still went back to not where I wanted to go. So I got some stills from it. So this is the funny creature, Robert. So you're saying it could be a big version of this thing, right? Now this thing actually turns on. This one actually turns on and glows like a crazy thing out of the Matrix. So it starts off like that. This is a submarine. By the way, you're breaking up since you keep moving away, so you might need to pop in and out again. Okay. Okay, so you think it's a bit of plastic that someone's thrown into the sea here, and you can see what it does. It transforms. So I got the snapshots here, and then it seems to unfold into that strange-looking squid thing. It looks like something out of what's it? The Matrix. Looks really Matrixy. Goes from there. I'll zoom in. Unfolds. So it's folding backwards here. So this was, it transforms into that flat looking plastic, and it sort of bends downwards this way, and then it turns on all these lights. So it looks like LED lights, and it starts blinking blue, red, white, just like normal LED lights. You think, is it some sort of experimental undersea drone?
How big is this thing? How big is this thing?
It's as big as a small undersea submarine. So a couple of meters big, and of course this is the first one they've only ever seen. So it makes you wonder what else is down there. But yeah, if I can play the video, I don't know if I play it again. Let me see if I can play it again. Play the videos better. So let's see. Does it play this time? Let's play the video here and then talk about it. I got it on slow motion so we can see a bit better. I think I got the audio directed, so I better check. I'll post it out the side so people can actually go and watch the episode. Okay, so here's this thing floating in the sea. Apparently from a submarine. I think it's off the coast of India, where there's a lot of plastic goes into the sea, right? And you wouldn't think that was a real creature, would you? The submarine gets too close. Very strange looking thing. Just zoom in a bit here. It's obviously other stuff floating along in the current there too. Almost looks like something the Chinese would build. And if something gets close to it, it activates. Like something out of a computer game. Where's it gone? People said it was CGI and all sorts of stuff, but it isn't. They released some more video of it, and apparently the poor thing got sucked into the transformed now underwater submarine that they were filming from into the propellers, and they chopped it up into little bits. And it's probably maybe the only real specimen they've ever come across. You can see the submarine here, a robotic arm.
But I have to say, I don't think that's responsible for these events. I just can't. I mean, how often have USOs been seen? 3D game.
Well, it looks like they're transformed into. Look at it. It looks like something from sci-fi movie. Pulsating red and blue lights. Can't tell me it doesn't look like the Matrix.
A wonderful looking beast.
Or is it a man-made thing? But anyway, we eventually found out there was another episode I did with Earl Grey, which no one told me that the audio was crackling. But I'll just post the link out here. But I eventually found out what it was called, because some scientists said, yeah, I know exactly what it is, but I've never seen it in that colour before. A new species, so he said, and it gets munched up by the submarine filming it, which is unfortunate. Strange bio USO, right? So these guys have not been with me forever, so you've probably not seen a lot of these episodes, so you're missing out on lots of good content, which Goofon says I've got none, of course. And I don't think he's ever talked about this creature, but yeah, it's called a jellyfish, and we thought it maybe it was a squid, you know, because squid can do crazy things, and of course they talked about squid being different DNA than the rest of us, like it was like out from outer space recently, wasn't it? In the last couple of years, they're saying something's not quite right with it. But it's called comb, I think. Comb. I'll just see if I get the right word. Comb jellyfish, I think. Let's see if we can find some pictures of one. And you can see it's similar, but hasn't got this strange blackness. And this is what they reckon it is. So for these ones, they're transparent, and they have the same front end on them with the, looks like LEDs, you know, when they light up under the sea. So you can see maybe it could be a biological, some of these witnesses for USOs. And you can see how fast that transformed, and I think it probably could do a right angle turn, but I don't think they move that fast, you know. But still, if you had a big one of these, it's possible that they might attack the boat. It might think it's food or whatever.
Yeah, but I don't know. There was no cases of a boat being attacked, Paul, that we've looked at tonight.
But if you look at a video,
it was keeping track of the vessel, but it wasn't attacking the vessel. I don't think that is anywhere near the explanation for what we've looked at tonight.
Well, let's see if there's a science page with a glip. We'll take a chance on fair use.
Oh, Paul, what's this? A wildlife video tonight? I don't
know. I suppose it will have to be, won't it?
Jeez.
Well, we're talking about USOs, so this one's got long tentacles that glow, attracts some fish, I guess. And there's all sorts of different strange shapes. Whether there's a donut shaped one, I suppose it kind of looked like a donut shape though. If you see here how it unfolded on that other video that we looked at. And I bet Preston doesn't know about these strange jellyfish. I thought there's going to be a video there. I thought I saw a video, but it looked like a video. Facts. Okay, let's have a look at that one. That's alright, we'll get on to your next one in a minute. Don't panic.
Yeah.
But you'll be able to see the blinkiness. It's hard to believe it's bioluminescence, right? And this is basically what I thought that the aliens were using, some sort of stuff around their neck or something like that, was when they were injecting me. Trusted to have music. Terrible. When they're injecting me, they sort of like self-glowing, and it was almost like the jellyfish here when we get one that's actually blinking. If it's here. Here we go. Here we go. So it was way brighter than this. But yeah. See that? Almost looks like it's man-made, but you can see it's like a cucumber, but it's got a hole that goes right down the middle here, and it can turn into that flat shape. Just click your fingers and it's instantly one of those flat looking bits of plastic. And of course this is how scientists developed liquid crystal displays, right? That comes from organic light like this, and they found that if you put a charge through it, it lights up, right? These you model things based on Mother Nature, right? It's just amazing. I don't know what that one's doing. Trying to eat each other, maybe. See how it's being sucked in? It almost looks like something out of Aliens. Perhaps a mate in there, is it? Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to bring that attention to that. Go and check out the video again. But yeah. Don't, what do you call it? Tube, donut, tube, sea life. So that'd be something to research a bit more. We used to have bus intertubes, and we used to go down the river. They used to be just like that. Yeah, but that's like it's all man-made stuff. Damn it. But yeah, I think it needs to be looked into a bit more. I said sea life. Anyway, maybe something that me and Charles can look into again. So, back to that. We're finished with that one. Oh, you got another link to go?
Yeah, let's have a look at this Stan Hubbard interview. It's all in text form.
If you can find any information about the Shag Harbour submarine incident,
yeah, I'll go look in.
Let us know out there. I'm pretty sure I heard some eyewitness accounts about the submarine. I'll just close that down there. Okay, did you post down the side? I'm not seeing anything yet.
Yeah, right. Just a bit.
Oh, something crazy going on here. Hang on. Copy address. Here we go. Party. Dr. David Clarke. What's he a doctor in?
He's got a PhD in folklore.
Right, I didn't even know there was such a thing.
Nor did I, but yeah. As I said, David Clarke is largely a debunker, but this is one of the very few UFO cases that he does actually believe is a real event and can't be explained in world.
I reckon you got a PhD in beer making. What do you reckon?
Beer making? Yeah, I'm not bad. You're
a doctor of home brew, so yeah. When we introduce ourselves, we'll just tell Bruce that you're a PhD of home brew. Have you actually got any qualifications though? Speaking of which, I haven't ever bothered asking you.
Sorry, right? Yeah, sure. Good God, on literature, history, sports science.
Are they degrees or are they like college papers or school papers?
Yeah, no, they're more A-level standard than degree level, Paul.
A-level being school?
No, well, A-level is like an extension of school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it would. I don't know if you'd. It would be more than a high school diploma, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, I think we used to call that sixth form certificate and seventh form.
Yeah, put it this way: with the qualifications I had, I could go maybe onto the second or third year of a degree course. If you see, are you with me now?
Yeah, it's like entrance to university.
It's a bit more than the entrance. You can join they wouldn't want you to do the first year, if you see what I mean.
Would they accept you into Oxford with that?
Sports science one I had was above A level, if you see what I mean. It's
yeah, but would you be? Yeah, well, but so-called classic universities. There's classic university and there's college city universities. Although they claim that, yeah, there's like a battle here in New Zealand that we got University of Canterbury, which is the classic old English style university, right? It's well respected worldwide, and then you got the one in Dunedin, which is very old school looking too, and that's very popular with what do you call it, art and emanations. You know, you heard about what's his name, Peter Jackson's coming down from down that location, and the other guy, what's his name, used to be a famous TV host, set up a course down there and company just to train up students into you know, like the Avatar stuff, what do you call it, Lord of the Rings and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's quite interesting. We are sort of like cutting edge here, really. They do a lot of experimental stuff in New Zealand before they roll it out to the rest of the world for some reason. Maybe because we're a small country to test it in and see how popular stuff is. But anyway, yeah, we better carry on with this then. So what's sports degree got to do with UFOs though?
So if you want to,
what got you into UFOs from an early age, or only from your sighting?
When I was I think I was like 9 or 10. My mum and dad, they were always interested in UFOs and the paranormal, and they joined a UFO club which was held at our local library. So rather than pay a babysitter, they took me with them. Okay, so I got interested from around 9 or 10. By the time I was maybe a little bit older than that, I was starting to read my dad's library books that he brought home about UFOs. My mum was a bit concerned, and my dad says, "Nah, let him go." And yeah. So that's how it started. Then they emptied the library of every UFO book they had, and they didn't have a great collection, you know. And yes, I got into it from there at a very young age. Then I kind of lost interest in, maybe by the end of my teens, I kind of lost interest in it. Was girls and beer and stuff then for a while, you know. And then I started to take an interest again. And I'll tell you what happened. I got mugged off. I seen one documentary. It was about the Phoenix Light case, and it explained it all away as flares. And I started to think then, damn hell, you know, maybe there's just nothing to this UFO subject after all. But what I didn't realise at the time is I'd been mugged. It was just a total debunking exercise, and it wasn't true. Well, just as I was kind of...
Well, it was part true. It was part true. It was a cover-up, I think.
Yeah, it was. Yes, of course, it was part true. But then I had my own sighting, and that was it, you know?
Yeah, yeah. That changes everything, doesn't it, once you get a real experience?
Yeah.
Yeah, you like watching ghost shows, and then you have your own paranormal stuff that happens, and you say, yep, these guys are not faking it. But unless you've had it, you're always going to be skeptical. You're always going to be a Mick West. There was something else I was going to ask you. Well, people don't realise that you're actually adopted. They're not actually your biological parents. And you got no brothers and sisters. Well, you sort of, maybe you have, but you've sort of been excluding them.
Yeah, that's one of those unfortunate things, you know, but... my mother especially was very concerned that I'd go looking for my biological parents. So I just thought, you know, no, I'm going to be faithful to you. You're the guys who brought me up. So no, I'm not going to go looking. And now, even after they've passed away, I still won't go looking.
Yeah, but you are alone though. Apart from your mates, you ain't got no family, you know, because what I bring this up is that with the Charles thing that happened, I decided to set up a room on Discord where the moderators or the key players off the show would put contact emergency information there, because we wanted to be able to find out if something seriously happened to you and all that sort of business, right?
Yeah. Oh, no, I've got people who can get in touch with you.
Yeah, I know you got friends, but you ain't got family as such, and unlike the rest of us, really. But
yeah, I'm still in touch with my cousin, but it's kind of a couple of times in a year, you know.
Yeah, but they wouldn't know if anything happened to you for a month, probably.
No.
Unless they're in the will. That they inherit a dog. So, who actually will look after your dog if you pass away? Have you got that organised?
Yes.
I know you used to have.
I've got Sping.
You used to have someone
James.
walk your dog, didn't you? Which you don't have the dog walker anymore.
Yes, I do.
Oh, you do?
I'm actually paying someone to walk him now. And he takes him 3 days a week, because you see what he does. He takes him out to a pen with around 30 odd other dogs. That's fantastic. That's just something that I can't give him, you know. But he only goes there 3 days a week, so I take him a couple of days, and then my mate takes him on another couple, so that fills his week up, you know.
Yeah. So where do we begin? From the top? Read it out?
Yeah, well, just to let people know that the Flying Saucer Working Party was created by Winston Churchill in 1952. It was a UFO program because we wanted to get to the bottom of what this UFO, well, at the time, was a problem.
Right. So, do you want us to read it out, though?
Oh, actually, it was 1951, you can see there. No, if you can scroll down, Paul, please don't read it from here. If you can scroll down to UFO'S over Farnborough, and we'll get straight to the crux of this this UFO incident.
Churchill.
Have you gone past it? No, I don't think so. There we go. There we go. Flying saucers over Farnborough.
Let's see if I can get it. Maybe start there. But I don't seem to want to go there.
Ooh.
Okay, let's just try it from there.
In place until the end of the Cold War. Flying saucers over Farnborough.
Here we go.
Originally published in UFO Magazine, 2002.
That's Bill, isn't it? UFO
in
magazine?
April 2001, we became the first UFO researchers to obtain access to a copy of the secret report drawn up by the Flying Saucer Working Party. The team of 5 technical intelligence specialists had been created by the Ministry of Defense following a wave of saucer sightings and newspaper headlines in the late summer of 1950. The Working Party's deliberations came to an end in June 1951, when their highly skeptical final report and conclusions were presented to the MOD and CIA at a secret meeting at the Metropole Building in London. That meeting, and the very existence of the study itself, had been officially denied for half a century. The breakthrough came at the end of 2 years' research at the Public Record Office, where we had located, in 1999, the top secret minutes of the MOD's Directorate of Scientific Intelligence. They revealed how the Working Party had been set up at the behest of the respected government scientist Sir Henry Tizard during the autumn of 1950, with a remit to investigate future reports and share intelligence on UFOs with the Americans. A mere 6 pages in length, the Working Party's DSI/JTIC report number 7 contained detailed accounts of just 3 UFO sightings, which the team had deemed to be worthy of a field investigation. All 3 had been reported officially by experienced officers from RAF stations, and 2 originated from the same witness, Flight Lieutenant Hubbard, who at the time was a test pilot based at the Royal Aircraft Establishment, Farnborough. Hubbard's first sighting of a daylight disk was summarily dismissed by the Working Party as being either an optical illusion or some quite normal type of aircraft. His second sighting occurred 3 weeks later, on September 5, 1950. This time he had 5 other RAF officers who were present on the watchtower at Farnborough.
Pause
This
after
report
Paul.
was also dismissed by the investigators, who concluded that the 6 experienced airmen had been deceived by some quite normal aircraft, maneuvering at extreme visual range.
Yeah, I was just talking to Bruce. I said to him, do you want me to convert all your music into a music video on YouTube that you can download? And he said that would be great. So I might do that in the next few days for him. But
okay, excellent.
Because at the moment,
he's been in touch though.
Yeah, he's all happy. I think he likes us, you know. But anyway, we'll just carry on.
Yeah, I just wanted to say Farnborough is in the south of England. There's like a training place there for for pilots, a pilot training school, and there's also an IVF base. There's all kinds of stuff flying through the sky there. I got accepted into college there, but I'd already started another course, so I left that, and I think that was a mistake actually. But anyway.
Let's just bring it up on the map while we're talking about it, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
Farnborough. I thought I saw it then.
You did.
UK. And what's that one? Air Force Base. That's the one you want to go to, isn't it?
That's the one.
There we go. Got a little thing popping up. Oh. Interesting shape there of airport. Hasn't sort of loaded yet though. We'll just zoom out. Zoom out to space. Why is it not updating? There we go. Whoa. London there. So that must be slightly north of Charles there. Portsmouth, Southampton. Wolverhampton's up here, isn't it?
Yeah, no.
You're gone. Are you there, Robert? We've lost you. Don't tell me you've got sound problems. Are you there, Robert? Oh, you're back.
Yeah, don't know what happened there.
You sounded robotic and you disappeared. Anyway, we got it on the map there. Yeah, sounds alright now.
Yeah, Charles is in Northamptonshire.
Yeah, that's here, isn't it? Just below it. I think you'll find.
I'm not sure now.
I think it's let's just put up on the map, just be sure then. I thought he was south of London, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, he's north of London.
Northamptonshire, where's it? Let's see how it goes on the map. Oh, right, it is the other direction.
Yeah.
I thought it was down here, but yeah, looks like I'm off direction again. So there's another.
You can tell by his accent that he's further up.
Right, so yeah. So he's not really close to a beach here, is he? Oh, what's going on there?
No, he's well inland.
I didn't want to do that. It moved the pointer, stupid thing. There we go. Yeah. We're sort of out in the middle of South Island here too, so we're not close to a beach. It'd probably be like the travel distance of there, probably. But anyway, carry on reading. Oh, I thought I clicked it. So just going slow at the moment. 98%. What are you doing? Something strange going on here. Yeah, let me just kill switch. No, reckons nothing's running. Play. What the hell's going on?
Oh, I don't know. Ooh.
I'm hitting play button. Yes.
Tommy, I've missed the story, damn it. Nah, we're just starting on this one now.
Yeah, it's sort of locked up.
If we can get it going.
Yeah, we'll just close that tab down. Maybe that's causing a problem. Now what's happened? Alright, we've been sabotaged again by something. I didn't understand what though. Windows 10 is the only other thing I can think about. Maybe I have to reload the page. Alright, what's this? There you go, look, not responding.
Yeah.
It's got to be a Microsoft bug, isn't it?
Yeah, just 1 second.
Let me just exit and reload it. Having problem. No shit, Einsteins. Come on, close down. There's always problems. We can't win, can we? Yeah. So now we've lost our place. Okay, see if we can start from reading one of these. Oh, what's going on? It seems to be going crazy. Where was the thing? Oh, stabilize. Where's the reader? At the top now. Seems to change places.
He became the first UFO researcher.
Yeah, where did we get to?
The breakthrough came at the end of 2 years' research at the Public Record Office, where we had located, in 1999, the top secret minutes of the MOD's Directorate of Scientific Intelligence. They revealed how the Working Party had been set up at the behest of the respected government scientist Sir Henry Tizard during the autumn of 1950, with a remit to investigate future reports and share intelligence on UFOs with the Americans. A mere 6 pages in length, the Working Party's DSI/JTIC Report No. 7 contained detailed accounts of just 3 UFO sightings, which the team had deemed to be worthy of a field investigation. All 3 had been reported officially by experienced officers from RAF stations, and 2 originated from the same witness, Flight Lieutenant Hubbard, who at the time was a test pilot based at the Royal Aircraft Establishment, Farnborough. Hubbard's first sighting of a daylight disk was summarily dismissed by the Working Party as being either an optical illusion or some quite normal type of aircraft. His second sighting occurred 3 weeks later, on September 5, 1950. This time he had 5 other RAF officers who were present on the watchtower at Farnborough. This report was also dismissed by the investigators, who concluded that the 6 experienced airmen had been deceived by some quite normal aircraft, maneuvering at extreme visual range. Half a century had passed since the Working Party's deliberations, when we presented a copy of Report No. 7 to Wing Commander Stan J. Hubbard, now retired from RAF after a long and distinguished flying career. Hubbard had heard nothing officially from the MOD since the day he was interviewed in great secrecy by Scientific Intelligence during the autumn of 1950. He was stunned when he read the conclusions they had reached. When in April 2002 Wing Commander Hubbard visited London on business, he invited us to meet him at the Royal Air Force Club in Piccadilly to discuss flying saucers. This was our opportunity to obtain an exclusive interview with the man whose sighting set alarm bells ringing in Whitehall all those years ago. Stan Hubbard, photographed at the RAF Club, London 2002, David Clarke. Years of investigating UFO claims and quizzing witnesses have left us highly skeptical, but even we have been forced to reconsider my conclusions in the light.
He wasn't related to Hubbard of Scientology by any chance, was he? Ron Hubbard?
No, I honestly don't think so.
Whenever I hear that Hubbard name, I always think of that guy.
Light of Hubbard's story and others described in our book Out of the Shadows. Hubbard's testimony adds much new information to missing jigsaw pieces left behind by the Flying Saucer Working Party's deliberations. They also made us ponder over the meaning of the words used in the cover note sent by the MOD's Director of Scientific Intelligence to Sir Henry Tizard when he was presented with a copy of Report Number 7. This reads simply, "This is the report on flying saucers for which you asked. I hope that it will serve its purpose." In the following transcript, DC is David Clarke, the interviewer, and SH is Wing Commander Stan Hubbard. DC, when did your career with the RAF begin? SH, I can't remember that far back. In essence, what led me to Farnborough was the test pilot school, which was started at Boscombe Down, and moved to Farnborough in January 1948. Prior to that I had been involved in fighter and bomber command activities during the war, and then out in the Middle East. I came back from Egypt to join the test pilot school at Farnborough in January 1948. Test pilot Stan Hubbard at RAE Farnborough circa 1950, Stan Hubbard. DC,
Hey.
Before that what aircraft had you flown with the RAF?
Righto.
SH, Hurricanes, Mosquitoes, Halifaxes and Dakotas. In fact I was personal pilot to the Commander-in-Chief of the Mediterranean and the Middle East. 1948 was a very good year at Farnborough. It was very informative, and I didn't realize at that time that test flying for the government was going to be so rewarding in terms of experience. DC, so you had been at Farnborough for 2 years when this incident with the flying saucer occurred? SH, that's right. It was August 1950. DC, can I now take you back to that August morning in 1950, when you had your first sighting? What happened? SH, I had been away for 3 weeks out west, and I had come back the previous day. I had flown a Fiesler Storch, WW-2 German reconnaissance plane, back from as far west as you can go without getting your feet wet. The top speed is about 75 miles per hour. It took me ages and ages to get back to Farnborough, but anyway I had written my report, a final report on 3 weeks' work, and I had submitted it that morning and I was very pleased that it had been accepted and felt that I could get away for an early lunch. So I left the old flying control building and set off directly for the mess. In those days there was no problem about walking straight to where you were going, there were no security fences, we just got a green flashing light from flying control and went straight across the runway to number 1 mess, which was my home in those days. I had gone about 150 or 200 yards, and this was one of those rare mornings. It was warm, there was no air movement, there was no aircraft noise, nothing flying, no aircraft engines being revved up on the ground, no traffic noise at all, it was dead quiet. So I was surprised to hear a very strange sound that was coming from somewhere behind me, and it impinged upon my consciousness. I was thinking about other things, but I stopped and I turned around to see what it could be. I then saw a very strange object way in the distance, I think towards Basingstoke. I watched this thing, and it was for all the world like the edge-on view of a discus, the sort of discus we used to throw at sports meetings, and it was rocking from side to side very slightly, probably 20 to 25 degrees either side, rhythmically rocking but maintaining a very straight approach. I watched it, and it moved very quickly and passed overhead. And I tell you, that was something that has stuck in my mind very clearly, vividly, to this day. DC, how would you describe it? SH, as a discus, without obvious characteristics. It was a light gray color, a bit like mother of pearl, but blurred. It was obviously reflecting light, because as it rocked it looked like a pan lid as you rotate it, with segments of light rotating around. And I could see that around the edge as it went overhead I could see very clearly it was a different color, it had a definite edge to it. And the whole of the edge was a mass of tiny crackling, sparkling lights. And associated with that, there was a real impact of very, very strong ozone smell, and it was for all the world like the sound you would get when you walk through the door into a big active power generation station with huge rotors turning with the smell of ozone, and the crackling of commutators. DC, was there any windows or protuberances, or anything like that? SH, no other characteristics at all. It was featureless. And the remarkable thing about it was there was no sound of air movement. No air displacement whatsoever. DC, were you able to estimate how far away it was from you? SH, I would have said, remembering the angle when I first saw it, and when it disappeared from sight, it had to be something in the order of 100 feet across. I was asked at the first interview, how fast was it traveling? I had no idea. I had no idea whether it accelerated or slowed down. But from the time when I was watching it, until it went out of sight I would estimate that it was traveling about 500 miles per hour. But then again I don't know how high it was, but the span it covered whilst I was watching it meant that it must have been traveling fairly fast. DC, how long did you watch it in all before it disappeared? SH, difficult to say, but probable a minute and a half, 2 minutes. DC, was there anyone else about at that time? SH, I was alone, contrary to what has been reported. But as it had just gone over, from the little wooden hut that was the dispatcher's shack, the young lady that came over screaming my name, she knew me very well, and saying, "Did you see that horrible thing?" I didn't answer, I was so absolutely whacked at watching what I had seen. I don't know what happened, but I learned later that she had been taken ill, and was quite hysterical about it. DC, so had she seen the same thing as you? SH, she had seen exactly the same thing. DC, so what happened then? Presumably you went and made a report. SH, when it went out of sight I turned straight around. I guess I should have gone to see to the young lady, but I turned straight around and walked back to the flying control building and stomped straight up to my wing commander's office and barged straight in, I'm afraid, and said, "Hey, excuse me sir, but I've got something I really need to tell you." And he said, "Relax and tell me about it." I told him and he asked me to repeat it, and I did, and we discussed it very briefly, and he said, "Okay, we have to report this very quickly." He called the Air Ministry, because that was our channel of command, and apparently they put him straight onto scientific intelligence. That was before noon, and they were down within 2 hours. DC, the same day? SH, yes. They were civilian people, and I was warned at the outset not to ask names, and not to inquire where they were from and all that. They started asking questions, and I guess it was about 2 hours. I was a little bit put out, or more surprised, because they weren't really taking in what I was telling them. DC, did you think they were taking seriously what you were saying? SH, they appeared to be taking it seriously. What I was telling them appeared to surprise them so much that their questioning guidelines became illogical. DC, do you remember any of the questions? SH, how high was it? How big was it? How fast was it? What was it?
Did it go
Where
in
do you
water?
think this was made? DC, what were your answers? SH, well I said I can only give you an idea of how big it was. I don't know how high it was, but the angular altitude, when I first saw it, and when it disappeared was somewhere in the order of, I forget what I said now, I told them some degrees that I thought it was, which would coincide with round about 1,000 feet altitude. If it were 1,000 feet it had to be 100 feet across, and it would have to be traveling at about 500 knots. There were a lot of questions that didn't seem to be directly pertaining to the subject. They were asking about esoteric subjects. DC, what was the most unusual question of all? SH, where was it made? And my answer to that was, well, it certainly wasn't made on this planet. I remember saying that. DC, and what was the reaction to that? SH, oh God, throws arms up in despair, we've got one of those sort of thing. DC, how did the interview end? SH, it ended by them saying, you must not discuss this with anyone, not even your boss. You are not to ask questions and you are not to call friends in the ministry, or make inquiries. They were quite serious about that, there is no doubt about that. Quite serious. I thought it was very strange.
So how come he's able to leak it out now without any consequences, though?
Oh, well, I think he was quite elderly at the time.
He didn't give a shit anymore?
Maybe as simple as that, Paul. But I guess once he was out of the service, I don't know, but I suppose a lot of people, even late in life, are afraid to speak out because of the pension, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
Especially if you've got a military pension.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Apparently you get a pension for every was saying you go into, because a guy in Australia, ex-boss, which caused me lots of trouble, he had 8 pensions, he said, from the military. Being Iran, all that sort of stuff, Iraq, I mean. But
I think my dad only done 6 years, you know, in the military, and I think he still had some kind of a pension right until the end.
Shane, you didn't get access to it. No. You could do with the extra money. Inherit pensions, that would be good. Actually, my dad quit, so he wasn't entitled to a pension, which is a bit unfortunate. But yeah, it's a bit funny how they do that. Anyway, I'll just carry on. Hopefully.
Strange.
It worked this time.
DC, that was the end of it, and you heard nothing more. SH, nothing. Not until the second time. And 2 of the same people came the second time. One of them, who I thought was the leader, he said, oh my God, not you again. Laughter. Which put me off a bit for starters, that was a bit unprofessional. But anyway, there were much the same sort of questions, and I remember them saying, we've got to make this brief, it wasn't the leader, it was one of the others. We've got to make this brief, because we've got to go back and catch a plane to Brazil, where we're going to interview people who've been watching flying saucers.
Okay, so the second sighting. Now, this first sighting, well, okay, if it was 100 meters across, that's very unusual, especially if it was shaped like a discus. But it was only traveling at 500 miles per hour. That's not an unusual speed, is it?
No.
Maybe maybe the shape was a misidentification. I don't know. But I don't see anything particularly outstanding about that first sighting. But obviously David Clarke has been totally convinced by this guy, and he's the most skeptical guy you'll ever meet. He still thinks Rendlesham was the lighthouse.
Surely not.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's as skeptical as you'll get. But yeah, let's have a look at the second sighting then. Keep it going.
DC, what a strange thing to say. SH, yes, wasn't it? Laughter. That sticks out in my memory very clearly. DC, so the second sighting you made, how long after was that? SH, it was getting on for a month. I forget the date, it was September 1950. We were up by the flying control building. This was on an afternoon. It was an overcast day, and it was quiet, and there was a cloud base, about 8/8 cloud, at about 4,000 to 5,000 feet. There was a layer of cumulus, and we'd watched the first test take off of the P-1081, which had been built by the Hawker Company, but had finally been assembled at Farnborough. Wimpy Wade, the chief test pilot, took it up to do the first flight. Very important, he was going up for 15 to 20 minutes for the first flight, and we were gathered on the roof of the old control building to watch him return, which he eventually did. But meanwhile, down south of the airfield I saw this object. And I thought, my goodness me. I grabbed hold of the chap next to me, which happened to be Jack Spencer, our
Clarke
civilian
was
boss,
one of them.
my immediate boss, not the chief test pilot, and I said, hey Jack, what do you think that is, pointing, and he shouted, MYYY, God. Go get a camera, quick. Nobody went to get a camera. Go get some binoculars. Somebody did go off, I think it was Taffy Evans, I think he went off to grab a camera, and some binoculars. He came back with binoculars later, but a number of other people had gathered by this time, and we watched it for 7 or 8 minutes. And what a performance it really was. It was incredible. The hovering was an unstable hovering over a spot, and then it would suddenly take off, fast, and it was going, the angular distances were quite wide. DC, much further away than the first time you saw it. SH, oh yes. The first time it went right overhead. It went from about 180 degrees to about 330, that's quite an angular step, and it was quite a distance away. The speed it must have been traveling must have been enormous. The acceleration from standstill to stop, the deceleration to standstill was fantastic. Then it would go into this flickering, hovering mode, obviously on the margins of stability. The only thing I can liken it to is, you know these Chinese conjurers who get plates spinning on the end of sticks, when it slows down the plates lose stability, when they speed it up it flattens out, well it was that sort of thing. DC, what was the reaction amongst the people who were watching? SH, awestruck. Absolutely awestruck. I remember Jack Spencer saying, sorry Stan, I didn't believe those first stories. It was very interesting. It made my day. Anyway, this was reported again to the wing commander, in fact to our immediate boss Jack Spencer. He went up and told the wing commander what we'd seen and reported it on the telephone. The same group came down, with the results I've mentioned. DC, how soon did they come down this time? SH, I think it was the same day. DC, how many were there in the group from Scientific Intelligence? SH, I think 5 in all, but they weren't there all the time, some kept coming and going. There was a lot of telephone calling, they were reporting into some office. DC, wasn't there an incident where someone played a joke upon you? SH, yes, that was after the first sighting, laughter. We received at my home a tea chest. Stenciled, with my name and address on it. My wife said, there's a tea chest out there that you ought to have a look at, it's got your name on it. We prized our way into it and found another box. That was odd. We got that box out and opened that up, looked down, and there was a cardboard box about 2-inch cubed, and inside it was a demitasse, a tiny little cup, with a note from my colleagues saying, Stan, put this in your saucer, and have a cup of tea. Laughter. DC, you knew who that was from then?
CNN.
SH, I did eventually, yes. They were pulling my leg. DC, this group that came to interview you, did they tell you who they worked for, what they were doing? SH, no. I found out later, the wing commander said, they are from scientific intelligence, and you must obey their instructions. And that was that. DC, you weren't asked to sign anything or write anything down. SH, they just took notes, and I think I did have to sign an affidavit of some sort. DC, they were very specific that you weren't to speak about this to anyone else? SH, that's right. They were very, very specific about that. DC, at pains of what? SH, the threat was never specified, but it was highly classified. That was the way they put it. DC, did you hear anything else after they left on the second occasion? SH, nothing. They interviewed some of the others who were present on the second occasion, including Frank Jolliffe. And I asked him what they asked. And it seemed they were the same sort of questions that I got. They certainly talked to us all as a group. Some of the chaps were flying when they came down, but there was a group of us, and they spoke to us all and gave us the same warning. I don't recall having to sign anything after the second time. DC, so what was the next time that this subject reared its head? SH, when I got your letter. I had heard from other people descriptions of other things that pinged in my mind. Oh God, they'd seen exactly the same thing. DC, so until you got the letter from me you'd heard nothing else about your report? SH, no. It came right out of the blue when I got your letter. Oh my God, here we go. Laughter. DC, and when you read the Flying Saucer Working Party report that mentions your sightings, what did you make of their conclusions? SH, well, it confirmed my view that recorders in the interviewing party were amateurs. They didn't get anything right. Now whether that was deliberate or not I just don't know. But they were not right.
Probably was.
I was not reported correctly. In fact, from their conclusion I felt quite insulted. We were specially trained and we were constantly being cross-checked against instrumentation, observations, occurrences in aircraft, flight recorders in aircraft, so that our reports on speed, altitude, aircraft behavior, geoloadings, and things of that nature were being constantly cross-checked against instrumentation. We prided ourselves on being accurate observers, even under duress, in a spinning aircraft for instance when you are being thrown around in the cockpit. You have got to be accurate when you are describing your experience in an aeroplane. So I find it a little insulting that our detailed observations were treated so lightly and further, reported so inaccurately. DC, do you think there was any reason behind that? SH, well, since it was official, I had to believe in the absence of any knowledge of my own, that there had to be some official reason for it. I couldn't imagine why. And then when I learned that the Prime Minister, Winston Churchill, had asked the same questions about these unidentified flying objects, and was told that it was myth, I thought, my God, they're even pulling the wool over the old man's eyes. DC, what do you think it was that you saw? SH, I don't know what it was I saw, but I know what I saw. DC, do you think it was the same, or a similar thing that you saw on the two occasions? Or do you think they were two completely separate occurrences? SH, oh, they were completely separate occurrences, but the object was identical. DC, you do think it was the same object that was involved? SH, yes, or similar. Oh yes. DC, do you think there was any possibility this was some kind of secret aircraft on test, an enemy aircraft, or some description, or something from terra firma?
Could be.
SH, this was 52 years ago. Even today, we have nowhere near the technology that would be required to produce an object of that sort and capable of that performance. the stability, the speed capability, the acceleration capability, the deceleration capability, the maneuverability and performance. We don't have the power sources. There was just absolutely no way this was of this Earth. DC, how do you feel about all this so many years afterwards? Have you any thoughts, feelings or observations about what was going on in 1950? SH, I know that it's about time that the truth and the seriousness of all this should be recognized. There has to be a very important purpose behind secrecy of this sort, but I can only think that it was deemed to be of a subject nature that could have been either positively or negatively classifiable. Negative intelligence is sometimes almost as important as positive intelligence. I don't know. But there is no doubt at all in my mind. I can see it as clearly today as I could on the day it occurred. I have thought a great deal about it, and I have got no more opinions on it, except to say that we still do not have anything near the technology, or airframe, stability, and control and power sources that could possibly do what this object did. DC, thank you very much, Stan, for your time and for giving such a comprehensive account. Asterisk transcript copyright 2002 David Clarke.
Okay. So, he interviewed that quite a long time ago then. In our time anyway. Are you there, Robert? Can't hear you. Robert.
Oh, I'm sorry, Paul. Yeah, I don't think David Hubbard's with us anymore. He's passed away now. Yeah, it's a shame he didn't do his interview on camera. That would have been fantastic. I don't know if it exists somewhere.
There's a Bruce. I don't know if it's Maccabee. Sounds
right, yeah. Sounds much like the saucer scene in Westall near Melbourne, yeah. 1966.
Does it? Was it this discus shape?
Yes.
Although there was some claims. We've just gone over
that quite recently, haven't we, with David Fox's phenomenon.
Wasn't there? But they didn't mention that there was meant to be some military exercises happening that were using decoys that looked like these UFOs. I didn't hear anything that mentioned in the movie. I don't know. The movie seemed, again, not balanced. Like it didn't have any skeptics in it, right? It was like all UFOs, and no one to give balance on the stories.
Yes, but how many good skeptics out there, Paul?
Well, you did 5 minutes research on the intro thing, so it sort of has, sort of got skipped.
Actually, William Coleman. Yes, I was actually shocked that he included his testimony, because he's just not a credible source. Other than that, I thought it was good. The only thing, my complaint was, there was nothing there for somebody who's been around this subject for many years, you know? Yeah, there was a few snippets of video that I've never seen before, well, that's never surfaced before. There was also the photograph that the teacher had of no, it wasn't the teacher, it was another guy who snapped that photo, so that's still being analysed now. And that certainly was unusual.
Yeah, it wasn't put into the movie though, was it? The analysis of the photo.
Yes. Yeah, the photo was in the movie, yeah.
No, it wasn't analysed though.
Not in the movie, no.
No. Yeah, so I don't know. Interesting. But this one wasn't anything to do with water this time.
No.
So what's the reason for putting this one up today? Just summarize it.
It was just I was actually quite taken back when Martin Willis said that you ever come across anything that you believe to be a true alien.
Because he's a skeptic, right?
And he put this case. This was his best one, because apparently he got to know this guy quite well, and he was absolutely convinced of his testimony. Yeah.
It's funny how he says published in UFO magazine, then at the end says it's copyright to him. So it's kind of crazy there too with the copyright stuff.
That's a bit crazy. But yeah, UFO magazine was an absolute excellent publication. You know, it was run by the Birdsall brothers. I managed to get my hands on around about 150.
Hang on, are you talking about the American magazine?
No. That was run by Bill Burns. That was nowhere near as good. This is UFO magazine. This is the UK publication.
Yeah, that's why I questioned it. You see.
Yeah. There was 2 UFO magazines. You're quite right.
So people out there might not realise that.
Mm-hmm. Well, especially if they were American, they would maybe come to the conclusion that it was Bill Burns' publication, but no.
I'm sure we've heard his story before, the Hubbard. Did we cover Hubbard before? It looks very familiar.
So. I don't believe so. Or maybe we used it as part of...
seems to ring a bell for some reason. Did he end up being an airline commercial pilot at all, or was it just all Air Force with this guy?
I don't think so.
It kind of looks like a airline pilot, you see. He looks typical airline pilot. Eh? So yeah, we probably could wrap it up on that, could we? Or you still got something else to go?
Yeah.
2.5 hours, so we waited 1.5 hours for Bruce, so
yeah.
I'm a bit knackered. I hope people out there liked it anyway. I know we didn't get any donations this weekend, but yeah, we need to get the support up there with the people coming here and watching. The weekend, I suppose, you'd expect people to be able to have the time free to come and at least put the effort in to watch and comment on the side. So I don't know what's happened into our group. It sort of got disbanded a wee bit. Is it because it's 2020? Maybe next year it's got to be better, surely.
Well, I think it's just people aren't familiar with the Twitch platform, you know.
I don't know. It's
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But anyway, at least you're getting plenty of view time on BitChute. And,
yeah, BitChute's growing really fast.
Yeah.
1,000 views a week easy at the moment, and it's going to catch up to YouTube in less than 2 years. It's going to overtake YouTube's views, which then tells me...
how many subs now? It must be 650 or something around there.
Down there, down the subs, down the bottom of the screen.
Oh, 656. Oh, there we go. Yeah, okay.
But it may have changed. Let's just do an update. It's probably gone backwards on YouTube, and it's probably gone up on BitChute. Let's see if it updates. It's normally going up 5 to 10 subs a day at the moment for BitChute, and YouTube seems to be going backwards, if anything, which people are questioning if they've got some algorithmic bot on there that's purging people. It's taking a long time. Yeah. Maybe because I've got Facebook open, maybe. Here it comes. Should be updating now. That's slow. That's why I don't do it automatic on that one. There we go. Did it update? Nope. So no new subs will have been on. But I'll keep on going up because it has been. But yeah, and we can just leave it there, and next time we'll be with Bruce, hopefully, and no other disasters. But we are getting closer to. So what's next Sunday? 30th of November. We are getting closer to Xmas.
No, I think it'll be the 29th because it's turned midnight here now and it's the 23rd. Oh, right, yep. So
yeah, 29th. So hopefully you can still come on. He said okay, so yeah, so what are we doing over Christmas periods? We don't really sort of take Christmas too seriously in this house because we ain't got young kids. But yeah, I don't think we even bother with Christmas decorations. I don't know if you do. Put Christmas lights on your dog, maybe. Mr. Mosh. But I will be putting up soon. Santa Alien. I got the hat designed. Was it not started? So there we go. The Christmas feeling, and we got the Christmas lights. Now, which ones did we use? I might have to rearrange where they go. Yeah, see, it's in the way there now. And we got the other lights that pop up. Let's see if they work. Wasn't do anything. Alright, they're at the bottom here. They seem to be in the wrong location though, which is kind of strange. I think they should be higher up. Don't know if I can drag it. Right at the edge, aren't they? Won't let me get them. Now they've disappeared completely. So I might have to look into that and make sure they're all working. So yeah, where would I put the Christmas tree? I suppose I could put it forward a bit. Yeah, getting a bit busy there. Could put it over here, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose I could move it out the way. But there, that's a UFO tree. So yeah, I think that'll all work out right. I kind of like my Santa Pingy. I'll just send him on his way though, and do the end credits, I guess.
Yeah.
Thanks, Area 51. Christmas tree. He's put up some decorations in the side chat there. Don't sort of come out here though.
Yes, you all.
The OBS one's not as good looking, is it? It's there though. And take care on the roads, guys. We can't lose any more truthers. We can lose the frauds, but not the truthers. We're a dying breed. Is it coming up? Nope.
Nope.
It's all good, all good. Strange day. Into a strange day. Yeah, you too, Tommy. I've still got a bit of cleanup to do, uploading to YouTube and all that. I think Charles might have gone to bed though, is he? Is he there? Yeah. You could You can imagine someone walking along with this kind of music though, couldn't you? It's sort of groovy music. So who would have thought a burst pipe would have changed our day?
Yeah.
Yep, I'll be doing a Saturday debunk, live debunk, and hopefully Sunday we'll get Bruce on finally. The men in black can't stop us. Yeah, let's tick the box here. If it will let me.